Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we basically made an abundance of trades and we reshaped this team, and so far we're 25-13-3, which is pretty solid. We're a good offensive team, but we are absolutely not doing that good in terms of like goaltending, power play, penalty kills. So I don't really know if I'm like really safe on saying this team is a contender or not. But our roster should simulate well for the rest of the season. It's just more about how we're going to actually do when we get to the playoffs and whatnot, like the last few seasons. But we brought in Cameron Conza to help out our offense from the back end, and he's been doing that so far. He's been really good, on pace for over 60 points. We also did bring in Armsden. He's fitting in well with the team. But in general, the team is just not doing as good defensively as it has done in previous years. Don't know what the reason being is. Maybe it's the goaltending, because the goaltending right now has been absolutely tragic. As you can see, Donovan has an .887 save percentage, and then Korea as our backup, because he's now been our backup, he's got an .881. So this team is kind of questionable right now. At least we do still have Galiev down in the minors, so we could call him up at some point in the playoffs or the regular season. But right now, I'm really not concerned. Like, I'm kind of concerned with this team in the defensive play and all that stuff. So we might make some changes, but I think we might keep the roster together for the rest of the season. I am pre-recording this episode, so I don't have any suggestions for trades at the moment, because obviously I'm recording this right after I recorded the last episode. But we are going to probably make some adjustments to this roster just to, in terms of the lineup and how it's set up, just to see if we could get something going a little bit more. So let's put Kager to the top unit, I'd say, as our first thing. Cons goes down to the second unit, even though Cons has been really good, maybe. Wait, who's the one that's injured right now? It's Yoshimura. So actually, let's put Michkov up there. But Kager actually Kager could play up there. We will put, once Yoshimura comes back from injury, Yoshimura could play on the second unit. And we will put Shelly up here on the forward core instead, even though he's been scoring a lot of goals. Yeah, that's good. And then our penalty kill has also been really not doing too well. Don't know what the problem is with that, but we will keep it the same. I think, yeah, we'll keep it the same, and we'll just hope that it gets better. But we need the goaltenders to improve. Obviously, Donovan's still young into his career, but he's not been that good. He's been winning games, obviously, because of the team, but that save percentage is not good. That goals against is okay, but yeah, that save percentage is terrible, and then Korea's been worse, which is not good. So hopefully that turns around the rest of the season. But in general, I think I'm just going to keep the rest of this roster the same for the season, just because there's not much we could do with the amount of cap space we have. In order to actually make a trade, we'd have to offload somebody's contract, and I don't really think I want to do that. So let's continue simulating and see how this team does up until the deadline, and then maybe we'll make some moves if we absolutely need to. But we'll see if this team could improve its defensive play a little bit, and those goaltending numbers could improve. Because if that can improve, then this team should be a pretty good team going into the playoffs. But very skeptical about how this team will actually do in the playoffs when our goaltenders have save percentages of like .880, because just never really know how this team is going to simulate the rest of the way. Okay, so it said that Yoshimura was back from injury, but he's not full health, so we'll wait a little bit before we actually throw him in. There we go, now he's ready. So that means Spalling, I guess, got thrown back in because he was injured at one point. So we will throw Yoshimura into his spot. And then we'll throw Spalling back into the fourth line over Mr. Appleby, just because Eddie Appleby's not really that great of a player. We gave him first line ice time as a depth forward when Geeky was injured earlier in the season, and he was just not that good. So yeah, hopefully this team could do better now that we are back to full health pretty much. We just got to see if we could win those games, and hopefully the guys in the minors that are low lead potential are getting some good growth. I don't really want to claim anybody on waivers because I don't really got the cap space, so decline that. I just don't think this team needs to make any movement. It's a weird simulating team right now, but I feel like it could all just come together in the playoffs or the rest of the season like it's doing all of a sudden right now. Now all of a sudden we're playing really good defensive hockey, it looks like to me, as we've had a couple games where there's been a couple shutouts and whatnot. So hopefully those goaltending numbers are improving. And oh my goodness, this is a big loss. I wish I could put him on like LTIR or something. Marcus Shishkinov has been injured with post-concussion syndrome. He's out till May the 7th, so he's out for the rest of the year, pretty much, up until the second round if we get there. But that does give more ice time to Yoshimura, which is good. But yeah, that's a major loss because that's one of the better playmakers on that second line. So Volchenko is going to get a little bit more ice time this year, getting the chance to play with a legend like Shelley, so he's going to learn some goal scoring ability probably. And then we'll throw in who we want to throw in on that fourth line. We'll throw in McElhinney because McElhinney is a better goal scorer, so we'll do that. And then since that's going to put McElhinney on the power play. Do I want that? No, I want Volchenko on the power play. Volchenko deserves an opportunity to get a little bit more ice time and see if he can score those goals like he did in the minors. Even though he's a centerman, he's not going to be playing as a center just because he's a sniper. I usually have like having snipers on the wing instead, so we'll see if Volchenko can score some goals on that power play unit. And yeah, there's our team for the rest of the season, potentially including the playoffs, depending if we actually get past May 7th. But that's a big loss for the team. At least we have Eddie Appleby, and we have, who's getting growth? Lynch is up to a 79, so we do have Lynch as well that we could call up for the playoffs if we need to, which is great. I am glad at least he's grown up to a 79 because, yeah, Lynch might end up getting the play this year. There is a definite chance of that, depending on how these guys assimilate in the new spots with Shishkinov being injured. Okay, so 43, 16, and 4. So our team really took off since we made those line changes. And Michkov's got 82 points in 63 games. All of a sudden, he's up to 40 goals. So the team is definitely improving a lot. We are now the second best team in the entire league. So that's not great in terms of making it far in the playoffs. But at least the team is starting to turn it around with the new acquisitions. How's the goaltending numbers looking? I'm not going to take a look at the player stats yet. I just want to take a look at the goaltenders. Okay, Donovan's up to an 899 and a 294, so that goals against is going down, which is good. That save percentage is going up. That is also good. Guillermo Correa's also save percentage is going up, and his goals against is going down, so that's also good. But obviously those numbers aren't the best since they're still below 900, but I will definitely take that improvement because that's exactly what we need if we want to be one of the better teams in the league. So I don't think I'm going to make any trades this year because we made a lot during the offseason. I don't think it's needed. Let's see what this team could do post-deadline. We will just continue assimilating, I think, right away without even looking at what's on the block. Yeah, I think I'm not going to make any movement. I trust in this team even without Shishkinov. I think we could still win some games and whatnot. So let's continue to assimilate to the rest of the season, and hopefully we could end the season off on a pretty high note. And then hopefully the playoffs we can actually simulate good as well, because that's where the most important thing is, because last two seasons we've been a second round exit both years. So we want to definitely get further than that if possible. Malik Turner on waivers, huh? How good is this guy in terms of simulating wise? He played 61 NHL games, had 14 points, played really good in the AHL, and now he's just a AHL scratch or something, or what? Maybe he was an NHL scratch. I'm debating about claiming this guy, but I don't want to in a sense, just because we got some guys in the minors I could call up. So I'm not going to claim him, but that would be interesting just to bring in as a depth option. But yeah, our team has been really good since those line changes. Don't know if it's just because it's the second half of the season or what, but we're almost at 50 wins. There's 50 wins, which is good. Not our best season that we've ever had, but might end up being by the end of it. As McIntyre's now been out till April the 16th, that's not good. We don't want these injuries here late in the season. Holy crap, we've had two 10-1 games in the same month. And now McGrath has been injured with a mild concussion. Are you kidding me with these injuries? Suffered 2 losses at the end of the season. We finished 56, 21, and 5. And we won the President's Trophy for, I think, the 3rd straight year, isn't it? Because I feel like we've won the President's Trophy the last 2 years. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's the 3rd time we've just won President's Trophies in general. But 117 points this year, edging out the Sharks and the Devils by 1 point. And holy crap, I didn't even realize Agostino had 117 points this year. That is unreal. He might have won another Art Ross. That is an insane season from Agostino. That second half, he was only on pace for like 98 points, I think. And looks like his second half of the season, he completely dominated, which tends to happen at times. Who do we have for injuries right now going into the playoffs? McGrath, Shishkinov, and McIntyre is almost back to full health. That's good, because I don't want to be running Appleby in the playoffs necessarily. And then McGrath should be back somewhat soon. And then we could get Armsden out of the lineup, but Armsden has played 1 game in the NHL so far. Okay, let's take a look at our player stats and team stats for the season. How did we improve on the year? Hopefully we did in terms of goaltending and all that stuff, but entire league-wise, yep, we finished in first by 1 point. So yeah, we had a really good second half of the year. In terms of goals for, we were the best offensive team with the San Jose Sharks, so we improved in terms of offense because I believe we were like 9th in the first half of the season. Goals against per game wise, we were the second best defensive team. We went from second worst to second best, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think that was the case. So we majorly improved defensively in that second half. Our power play percentage also went up to being one of the best in the league, even though we didn't really make much changes to it. And then penalty kill wise, we didn't improve much. So our special teams still could use some work, but I like how the fact that our team just turned it around defensively in the regular season. Only 2 shorthanded goals this year, 28-11-2 on home ice, 28-10-3 on the road, 6-3-1 in our last 10 games, so hopefully that doesn't mean a first round exit. The fact that we won a President's Trophy kind of scares me because it's hard to win a Stanley Cup when you win the President's Trophy. So let's take a look at those player stats for the season. But what a year again from the combination of Agostino and Michkov, and what a year for Sean Armsden. Wow. I am really happy I brought this guy in. 79 points in 82 games as a second liner. Yeah, for like under $5 million, this guy's been a very good acquisition so far. Don't know what he's going to do in terms of the playoffs, but yeah, very impressed with that. Because, yeah, that cap hit is looking pretty damn good if he's going to produce like that. He's 31 now, so he might drop off all of a sudden, which is kind of scary. But Geeky, 73 points in 70 games, plus 49. That's unreal of a season for Connor Geeky. Another really good year for him. He could end up retiring soon, too, which is kind of scary. But, yeah, he's had some really good plus-minus totals the last few seasons. One of the more underrated guys in this series, because we always look at, like, Agostino and Michkov, but Geeky's been kind of quiet in terms of being that guy that we don't really talk about, but he's been really good. No power play goals this year, which is a bit weird, but he's more of a playmaker, I guess. So, Voloshenko, 36 points in 82 games. And since getting put on the power play, had 7 power play points. So, Voloshenko, pretty solid rookie year. Not going to win himself a Calder probably, but he's definitely going to be up there, probably like top 10, I'd say, in points, I guess. Hopefully he could help us out in the playoffs. Spalling, 28 points plus 5 is pretty solid. Filppula, 28 points plus 5. McElhinney had 11 points in 25 games. That's not too bad. Yeah, that's pretty solid for a depth option. Definitely will take that. We'll see if he ends up playing in the playoffs or not. Appleby, 5 points in 22 games. Not the greatest. I'd say I'm not impressed with Eddie Appleby. He was a first-round pick, and he's just not been really that type of guy at the NHL level, but it is what it is. Left wing-wise, Agostino, 117 points, a plus 58. God damn. That's his highest plus-minus, I think. No, actually, never mind. He had a plus 60 season as well, but wow. Look at the illustrious career of Agostino. He's up over 1,400 points. He's got a plus 407. I don't think I've ever had a guy that's had that high of a plus-minus before. That is an unreal career so far, and he's not even dropped off, I don't think, potential-wise, right? Yeah, he hasn't dropped off potential-wise. If he plays till 36 even, he's going to have, like, over 1,500 points. But if this guy could play till he's, like, 38 or something, that'd be awesome. But, yeah, Agostino, one of my favorite players of all time for sure. McIntyre, 60 points and a plus 22. McIntyre's been really underrated. I don't know what the reason is, but the last few years he's been picking up some good amount of points. And yeah, solid plus minus as well. How long did we sign him for? Only 1 year. He's going to want a lot of money this offseason as well. So this team might go through a lot of changes still. Shishkinov had 48 points in 57 games before his injury, which is a big loss to the team, I'd say, but at least the team is still winning a lot of games without him. But yeah, hopefully we can get at least to past May 7th so he can get back into the lineup for the playoffs. Right wing wise, Michkov, 114 points in 82 games, 58 goals this year, almost hit 60 goals again. What a year for Matvei Michkov, over 1,500 points, a plus 380 in his career as well. Damn, since bringing him in, he's just helped out Agostino tremendously, and he's also been doing really well. Kegorodov had 44 goals and 79 points. That's really good for him. His contract is up this offseason, so I should definitely give him an extension, even if he wants a lot of money. There is a good chance that Shelley leaves because of that. Yoshimura, 61 points is pretty damn good, plus 26. More of a playmaker than anything, but good to see Yoshimura starting to pick up more points again. 215 points in his career. He's been kind of underrated at times. And then Calvin Shelley, 56 points plus what? Plus 13, 38 goals. Almost a 40-goal season for Shelley, and he's now at 557. The question is he going to retire at the end of the season? There is a definite chance he could end up doing that, or he's not coming back next season, or who knows, maybe he'll come back for less money, but good to see him pick up like 12 power play goals this year. Defensively, holy crap, Collins helped us out a lot. 75 points in 82 games. I don't know if there's a chance for me to be able to afford him to bring him back, because he's going to want a lot of money after a season like that, but to jump up from a 35-point season to 75 just by changing teams, that is kind of insane. So we'll see how he does in the playoffs. Bilesma had 19 points plus 14. Burkov had 18 points plus 20. That's pretty solid. Sasaki, 17 points plus 20. Fairchild had 13 points and a plus 66. So basically my top line and my top two defensive pairings were out there for most of our goals, which makes sense. McGrath, 12 points plus 18. And then Armsman played one game with no points. Goalie-wise, Donovan was 39, 13, and 2 with 3 shutouts, a 902 save percentage, and 2.81. So his save percentage definitely improved, not by a whole lot. Actually, by a decent amount, I'd say. Goals against definitely improved a lot. And then Guillermo Correa was 17, 18, and 3 with 3 shutouts as well as a backup, which is really nice. But the save percentage didn't improve a whole lot, but at least it improved. Actually went up a good amount too, because he was at an 881, I think. So yeah, actually some really good improvement, I'd say, for save percentages. Goals against also really solid. So I will definitely take that. Let's take a look at the entire league for points out of curiosity. So the entire league-wise, the best forward for points was Rodrigo Connolly, damn it. So Agostino is not going to win the Art Ross this year. He was 10 points back at Connolly, unfortunately. He used to play in Dallas with Mishkov, I'm pretty sure, at one point. Best goal scorer of the season was Connolly with 69 goals as well. That's just crazy. Wow. Isn't he like a pending free agent as well or something? Yeah, he is. That guy's going to want a lot of money. When you score 127 points and 69 goals, you're going to get paid a lot for sure. Damn. Looks like a lot of high-scoring players this year. How much 100-point players do we have this year? Like, it looks like 13, 14 or so. Didn't want to do the math right there, but damn. That's insane. Best defenseman for points this year is going to be Trent Thornton, just beating out Cons, but Cons being a plus 65. Would you give him the edge into winning the Norris? Because we've never had a Norris Trophy winner in terms of defenseman, I think. Actually, no, we did. Chikrin would have won it a couple times. But, yeah, Collins might have an argument for it, but the plus-minus on Thornton's also really good, so we'll see how that plays out. Archipov also up there, that type of thing. Best goalie this season for wins is going to be Hornquist in New Jersey with 47 wins. Brayden Ramsey had 46 wins. Stone with 42. And Nicholas Hornquist, our former goaltender that we drafted in the 7th round, had 40 wins this year. Most shutouts by a starting goalie is going to be Gove and Ramsey and Pedersen, our former goaltender as well, with 8 shutouts. Damn, Stefan Pedersen. Didn't know you could have that much shutouts. Best save percentage by a starter is going to be Brayden Ramsey with a 918 save percentage, and best goals against by a starter is going to be Ramsey with a 252, but Pedersen would be up there for the Vezina candidate, but Ramsey's definitely going to win it, I'd say. Best rookie this season for points is going to be Michelli in Montreal. Combs also up there, so Combs better plus minus, but it's going to go to Michelli in terms of points. Simmons was also up there with 58 points. Abney, 55 points, but a minus 36 for that rookie. Goddamn. Where did Voloshenko finish? All the way up here, so maybe around 12, 13 as well. Not bad. So that is that, and let's take a look at who we're going to be playing in the first round of the playoffs. I'm really skeptical still about making it far in the playoffs because we just won the President's Trophy, but you never really know with this team, as McIntyre might be back from injury, which is also going to be good. Yeah, McIntyre is going to be back for the start of the playoffs. That's huge news, which means Eddie Appleby is now out, and we will put McIntyre back in, and that's perfect and ready to go. McGrath has dropped off because of injury probably, which is kind of weird, or maybe it's ice time actually as well. I hope it's not. because that'd be kind of annoying. But we are going to be taking on the Winnipeg Jets, so that's interesting since Arizona used to be the Winnipeg Jets back in the day. They went 40, 30, and 12. So they were below 500 technically, so I feel like we're going to get swept by them, which it could happen, to be honest, because of EA sim engines, but you never really know. Let's take a look at quickly how they did during the regular season, and then we'll take a look at their roster. So let's just go to Western Conference because I'm curious on that. So yeah, they were the 8th seeded team. Obviously, we're the 1st seeded team. They scored 3.46 goals per game, which it's not really that great. They allowed a rate around the same, so they're actually not a bad defensive team, it looks like, by comparison, but still in comparison to us, we're definitely better than them and everything. In terms of the power play, actually, they're a little bit better, 22%, we were 21.4, and penalty kill wise, they're a little bit better, so their special teams are better, we're better 5-on-5, we had the exact same amount of shorthand goals as well, and yeah, we've had, obviously, better home and away record than they did, so they actually had the exact same record on home ice and road wise, so which is kind of weird. Let's take a look at what that roster looks like, because I don't think we've played them in the playoffs before, or if we did, it was a long time ago. At least I feel like that. Because I don't think... I'm trying to remember the last time we played them, if we did. I honestly don't remember. First line-wise, they have Leonard Wotherspoon. I don't think I've ever heard of this guy even. 88. Israel Cope is their center, as well as Andrei Svechnikov, who's still playing at 39. It's kind of crazy. Second line of Oleg Kennins, Stafford, not Stanford, what the heck am I saying? Jesse Maw, and in a third line of Tucker Persinger, Michael Wilson, which is the most white name I've ever heard, Dwayne Cummins, and in a fourth line of Vyacheslav Mirnov, Luke Koshrain, and Greg Jacina. So overall wise, I do like their center depth. Their wingers a little bit weak, because Svechnikov shouldn't be, like, he's only an 81 because he's dropped off a lot. He might still simulate well, though. But Maw, Kennins are more third liners, Cummins and Persinger are more fourth liners, and then Jacina and Mirnov could be more depth forwards. So they must be really good defensively in a change. Let's see. No. Their defensive core is not that great. They got Sophilas and Zacharias Zanetti, so double Z. They also got Kennins and Nightingale, and then Prindis and Phillips. Yeah, that defensive core is mostly top 6 defensemen, so that's a little bit of a weird one. And then goalie-wise, it is Gage Ling and Cesar Brisebois. So solid goaltending, I guess. And then depth-wise, they do have Keith. They also have Tony Goldman, who was with us at one point, I think. As a depth defenseman, yeah, that's what I thought. And they do have an injury right now to Amrit Mura, who's an 85 medium elite guy that they drafted 6th overall a few seasons ago. He would be probably, their first line center, which means their center depth is, really, really good. So that's the one thing that they have going for them for sure. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the first round of the playoffs against the Winnipeg Jets, as we look to get back to that second round and hopefully further this year than we did in the last 2 seasons. So I'm guessing down below, and I'll see you guys next time.